Hey guys, Smithy here. In that video you will find out who is the best Ascended class overall. As always, I remind you that my ranking is based on my personal opinion and vision about the game. Also, even if your classes happen to be in my lowest tiers, but you are still able to win the highest tier 1, it just means that you are more skilled. So yeah, in Black Desert Mobile's PvP, skill matters a lot. And before we start, just a little ad to my personal Discord channel. Yeah, it exists, and I wait for you to join and stay in touch with me whenever you want. And also, if you want to support me, share that code with the new players that joined recently in the game, to win a 3-day Premium Combat Plus package for the Support Creator event. I will rank classes by far most important types of content in that game, that overall globalize all the activities. PvP, which is Arena and Ramones. Mass PvP, which is Guild Wars, Node Wars and Siege Wars. Easy PvE, which is mostly AFK farming, Field of Valor and Castle Dungeons. And at last Hard PvE, which is solo target PvE, like World Bosses, Ancient Ruins and Boss Rush. As always, let's start from the bottom tiers and make our way to the top. On number 6 will be placed Titan. Seems like developers really can't make it good. Maybe because between bad and overpowered there is a small gap, and by buffing they will make it too strong. But I personally don't believe in that. I really don't know what can be done to Titan to become useful. In PvP arena, as always, very easy to kite, no invulnerability or forward guard, nothing to evade damage properly, and the blinks end very fast. Compared to other classes, receives only 80 points. In Guild Wars things become even worse. Melee fighter with no invulnerabilities or some high burst, the only useful thing being the ability to grab weak target and bring it to the raid, and if you try to spam, you won't win. PvE wise, all classes are very balanced, showing similar kills per minute, so does Titan. And at last, boss fights, quite hard class to use when you try to conquest higher level difficulties. So overall 82.5 score for Titan. It's not a bad class, but other classes are just better. On the 5th spot, with no much difference in the score, I placed Archmage. Not like she is bad for PvP, she is just super hard to get used to. Even harder than sorcerers used to be. Very fast but also dependent on combos and right skill rotations. In PvP she must always be in movement, constantly spamming the right skills. I don't suggest for new players to play on Witch, if they want to have fun on Arena. Only 80 points score, just because she is hard. In Guild Wars, where movement is very important, she does great, and the fact of being half-ranged also gives her a lot of pros over other classes. Good choice for mass PvPs, but also hard. In PvE, once again, similar kills per minute to other classes. Well, Archmage is sort of supportive class, as she has many skills that buffs her teammates. What else can you expect from her in solo scenarios? Overall 85 points. Also, Archmage is very dependent on skill levels, and in future updates she will receive an extra skill that will make her life easier. Moving on to 4th spot is Gladiator. Honestly, that's one of the classes I enjoy PvP the most. Highest outplayed potential and great DPS. In PvP, a good warrior fears nothing. If you know the shield mechanics, you will dominate any PvP matchup. Still, he is harder to master than other classes, so only 90 points. In Guild Wars, just like Titan, almost useless. Frontal block breaks very fast when more than 2 enemies focus you, and no ranged abilities scores Gladiator only 80 points. In PvE, all the same as other classes. And for bosses, as you remember, I said Gladiator is good for DPS, and a good use of block gives him the ability to fight very high bosses difficulties. Overall 87.5 points for Gladiator. Taking our top 3 spot is Raven. Just like Witch, she is very mobile and fast, but the killing potential is way higher. In PvP, Sword can use easy tactic and bombard the enemy with Doom Vortex, that has ridiculous damage, fast animation, very high range and super low cooldown. But if needed, she can also do well in melee range, and disengage when needed. Still, a hard class to control. In Guild Wars, she is similar to Witch. Her mobility allows her to engage and disengage the fights very well, and Doom Vortex grants a good long-range support from safe spots. In PvE, nothing changed for her. same kills per minute as others. And for boss fights she's just good and capable to do great DPS and rush some difficult bosses. A steady overall 90-point score for sorceress. And reaching the class that recently received a buff for no reason as she was still doing good, Paladin. Ridiculous damage, high mobility and awesome skill animations. In PvP I can't even describe how strong I felt on Paladin. She can do everything, evade damage, move fast, long combo, even CC at long range. The only cons, she's melee. But who cares about when you have so many pros? Deserved 100 points in that category. Mass PvP is slightly worse, here melee has a big cons. Yet high damage and mobility and the ability to heal rate for 1000 HP at level 70 grants her 90 points. In PvE, once again, same as other 5 classes. And for boss fights, just like Warrior, showing amazing DPS number and the ability to kill high level bosses, but slightly harder, yet 90 points. And overall of 92.5 points for Paladin. Not like is more than Sorc, but still number 2 spot in that chart. And our winner of course will be Huntress. You knew that from the beginning. Easiest class, super strong in everything, almost no cons and huge long-ranged pros. In PvP, not like Huntress is godlike, the problem is that she's just way too easy against any average player. And if you put some skill into it, she becomes unstoppable and unreachable. 100 points. In mass PvP, as you've noticed, nobody has 100 points score, because nobody deserves it yet. Even Ranger, even though having a huge range, still quite dependent on positioning, and the worst evade ability makes her easy pride for a bunch of paladins or gladiators in mass PvPs. In PvE, Huntress is a beast, overall exceeding any class at least by 10% in farming speed. And the same can be said about bosses. There is no better class to clear high-level boss difficulties than Huntress, totally overpowered in any way. All that said, 97.5 overall score. I don't know if there will be another class that will have a match with Huntress, but we will find out, as there are still many classes yet to be discovered, and all of them are fun and powerful. So stay tuned and subscribe to the channel, as I will be always here to bring you all the info about upcoming classes, top lists and best builds. And on that note, I'm gonna end that video. Thank you so much for watching, don't forget to like the video if the info was useful for you, and again, subscribe for more. That was Smithy, have a nice day.